Hello, Byte Academy, and welcome to Final Project Presentation Demo Day for the Nostromo and Knight Rider cohorts. First up, we have Marlon with his Evolution Simulator. Take it away.
Thank you, Carter. So, like you mentioned, my project is called the Evolution Simulator. It's largely educational. So the goals are to create a visual model showcasing evolution, to demonstrate life processes including food consumption, metabolism, reproduction, and death. It's also to demonstrate natural selection, inheritance, and mutation. So just a quick recap on evolution. It's a change in the heritable characteristics of biological populations over successive generations. It occurs via the process of natural selection, where members of a population with favorable traits survive to reproduce. The variations of traits primarily exist because of mutation and genetic recombination. So my simulation primarily just uses mutation to change the traits over each generation. So let me actually show you the simulation. So it's configurable. The population of creatures, the mutation rate, and the tree count, which is the food. It's what the slime creatures eat. So the slime creatures, they roam the map eating trees. That's their food basically. They metabolize. That's them constantly losing health. And they reproduce asexually and eventually die. So the information panel. Well, there's supposed to be a bit more information, but apparently a little bugged. So the two main attributes that the organisms on the map have are vision and speed. So vision affects how far they see trees, and trees are their food source. The speed, of course, affects how quickly they move through the map, over the map. So the offspring, they inherit from their parents. They inherit traits from their parents. And they also have there's also a chance of them having higher or lower stats, depending on the mutation rate. So the graph there's a graph to actually show you the change in stats over time. It shows you the average vision, and if you watch it long enough, you'll see the average vision actually increase. And the same thing with speed. That increases to a lesser extent, primarily because speed and velocity on the map can have a negative effect after a while, because if they're moving in a particular direction and they spot food, then they'll try to turn and try to intercept that food, but they'll end up orbiting it or just shooting off in the other direction. So in that case, higher speed isn't always good. So the results, if you run the simulation long enough, you'll notice a visible increase in vision over time. And you'll notice a subtle increase in speed, primarily because of the things I mentioned before. The technologies I used are Phaser 3 game framework, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. So Phaser 3 is a really interesting game framework. It's a browser game framework that uses JavaScript and TypeScript. It works in any modern browser with canvas tags. It supports images, sprite sheets, tweens, and it has a really great physics engine. It's actually really fun to use, but you still have to learn it. My hurdles were learning Phaser, learning basic game design. It's not as easy as it seems, and learning more JavaScript. So for the future, I'm hoping to add in sexual reproduction, predators, and birth and death animations. The end.
Do you not have the action, like where you click it and show like the corrections and stuff in the bounding boxes and all that?
I don't know. That was working literally. That's never broken.
Okay.
But it just. Let me try that again. Oh, okay, now it works.
There it is.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's a JavaScript thing. If things load, if you go into it too quickly, certain things don't load.
The size of them is based upon like how old they are.
Yeah. Like, tell us about
So,
things on this board that are moving around in there. Like, what's everything doing? Are you still mic'd up?
I think I am. So, yeah, these are the basic attributes of the organisms that are alive. So the name, age, generation. So the second generation just came in. There's their health pool, vision, and speed. So they only reproduce at over 100 health. Updates are on the right. Whenever something is born, whenever it dies, whenever something is born with a mutation, it can be either positive or negative. So either way, you'll see that. So it's pretty informative. Also, there's some color cues as to what their stats are. The red ones are actually the fastest, and green is just the base. And the ones with like the weird birthmark looking thing, if you can see one, they're like in between.
How long do they typically live?
It kind of depends. They're supposed to die after close to around 10 years, but I've seen 17-year-olds. Let's call that a feature. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So like how long can you let this run?
Oh, it can run indefinitely under the right circumstances. But it's still pretty random. Some of them I run and they just all die. Like if there's not enough food. Others they'll run forever. If you create like 200 trees, they'll be within reach of trees everywhere. Even the blind ones will be able to get to them. So. Okay. Any other questions?
Congrats.
Thank you.